Right now, as you read this, there's a piece of paper in your wallet that's worth less than it was yesterday. Not because it tore, not because it got wet, because that's what it was designed to do. Lose value slowly, quietly, by design. 1789. A French merchant accepts a crisp new banknote for a sack of flour. The note says guaranteed by the nation's land. 5 years later, that same merchant needs a wheelbarrow full of those notes to buy a single loaf of bread. Not flour, bread. Your grocery bill went up 40% in 3 years. His went up 4,000% in 5. Different century, different currencies, same trap. What if I told you the pattern started with the best intentions? What if the disaster was completely avoidable? And what if we're watching it happen again, right now, in slow motion? To understand where we're headed, we need to go back. Not 2008, not 1929. Further, to a revolution that promised freedom and delivered financial catastrophe. To a government that thought it found the secret to unlimited money. To millions of ordinary people who watched their savings vanish while holding paper that said, backed by the state. This isn't taught in economics classes, but it's documented in diaries, records, and the desperate letters of people who lived through it. History doesn't repeat, but it echoes, and right now, the echo is getting louder. The story begins with a crisis. France, 1789. The richest country in Europe is bankrupt. Decades of expensive wars, lavish spending, and corrupt tax systems drained the treasury. The people are starving. The government is broke. Revolution is in the air. Then someone has an idea, a brilliant idea, an idea that would change everything. France owns vast amounts of land confiscated from the church and fleeing nobles. Millions of acres, billions in value. What if they used that land as collateral? What if they printed money backed by real estate? They called it the assignat, a note redeemable for land, not just paper, a claim on actual property, solid, tangible, valuable. The government promised these notes could be exchanged for land at any time. They promised never to print more than the land was worth. They promised it was safe. Source: Fiat Money Inflation in France, by Andrew Dixon White, 1896. At first it worked. Merchants accepted assignats, people trusted them. The economy stabilized, the government paid its debts. Crisis averted. Then came the second temptation, the one that always comes. If 400 million helped, wouldn't 800 million help more? If printing money solved one problem, why not print more to solve others? The government needed funds for the army, for infrastructure, for subsidies, for survival. 1790, they printed more. Then more again. By 1791, over 1 billion assignats flooded France. The government broke its first promise. There wasn't enough land to back the currency anymore, but they kept printing. Source: When Money Dies, by Adam Ferguson. Here's what they didn't see coming. Pierre was a baker in Paris. I am 43 years old. He'd been saving for 20 years to buy his shop. He had 15,000 livres in assignats. In 1789, that would buy 3 bakeries. By 1792, it bought half a sack of flour. Not enough to bake bread for a day. His life's work, gone, not stolen. Not lost, erased by ink and paper. Sound familiar? Your savings account right now? The money you've been putting away? If you saved $10,000 in 2020, it's worth $8,200 in purchasing power today. Source: CPI calculator, Bureau of Labor Statistics. Same pattern, different speeds. The French government faced a choice: stop printing and face immediate collapse, or keep printing and face eventual disaster. They chose eventually. They always do. By 1793, over 4 billion assignats circulated. Prices doubled every few months. A pound of bread cost 3 livres in 1780. By 1794, it cost 200 livres. That's a 6,000% increase in 5 years. Source: French Revolutionary Archives, National Assembly records. But here's the thing about inflation. It doesn't hit everyone the same way. The wealthy saw it coming. They converted assignats to gold, to land, to foreign currency. They bought real assets while they could. The poor, the workers, the savers, they held paper and watched it burn. Not literally, which somehow felt worse. Marie-Anne kept a diary. She was a seamstress in Lyon. Her entries from 1793 are heartbreaking. Today, I spent my entire week's wages on eggs. Just eggs, 6 of them. I remember when 6 eggs cost what I earned in an hour. Now they cost everything I have. Source: The French Revolution, A History by Thomas Carlyle. Your eggs cost $2 in 2020. Today, $6. Source: USDA Price Index 2024. You're living her story, just slower. The government knew they had a problem. They tried price controls, made it illegal to charge excessive prices. Bakers who asked for more than the official price faced prison. Some faced the guillotine. It didn't work. It never does. Bakers stopped baking. Why bake bread you're forced to sell at a loss? Farmers stopped bringing food to cities. Shortages got worse. Black markets exploded. When you make something illegal but necessary, you don't stop it. You just make criminals out of people trying to survive. By 1795, the assignat was worthless, 50 billion notes in circulation, backed by land that couldn't possibly cover 1% of their face value. The government finally stopped printing, not because they wanted to, because nobody would accept the notes anymore. Source: The Assignats by S.E. Harris, American Economic Review, The Aftermath. Catastrophic. An entire generation's savings wiped out. Trust in the government is destroyed. Social chaos. Economic collapse. The conditions that made Napoleon's authoritarian rule feel like salvation. This collapse didn't end with France. The pattern was set. The lesson was unlearned. Fast forward 140 years. Weimar Germany, 1923. The government needed money after World War I. They had printing presses. They remembered France, but thought we're different. They weren't. 4.2 trillion marks to buy $1. Source: When Money Dies by Adam Ferguson. The pattern continued. Each time, the lesson was forgotten. Each time, the ending was the same. Zimbabwe, 2008. Inflation hit 79 billion% per month. A loaf of bread cost 300 billion Zimbabwe dollars. Teachers carried bags of cash to school, not to teach about money, but to have enough to buy lunch. Source: International Monetary Fund. Zimbabwe Crisis Report, 2009, Venezuela, 2016 to 2021. Inflation peaked at 65,000% annually. Doctors couldn't afford food. Engineers drove taxis. Life savings evaporated. Source: International Monetary Fund. World Economic Outlook 2022. Notice something. The same 3 warning signs every single time. Warning sign 1. Government spending exceeds income. Check the U.S. national debt hit $35 trillion in October 2020. 4. That's $270,000 per taxpayer. Source: U.S. Treasury Department. October 2024 warning sign 2. Currency supply increases dramatically. Check. The Federal Reserves. Balance sheet expanded from $4 trillion in 2019 to nearly $9 trillion by 2022. Source: Federal Reserve Economic Data. 2024 warning sign 3. Prices rise faster than wages. Check. Inflation averaged 6.2% from 2022 to 2024. Median wage growth, 3.1%. Source: Bureau of Labor Statistics, 2024. The gap between what you earn and what things cost. That's not random, that's the pattern. But here's what keeps me up at night. We've added a new element: digital currency. In the assignat crisis, at least you could see the printing presses. You could watch the paper pile up. Today, the Federal Reserve creates money with keystrokes. No paper, no presses, just numbers on screens. $17 trillion created since 2008 with a click. Source: Federal Reserve Z1 financial accounts. Report your grocery bill tells you what that means. Eggs, we covered, but milk, up 38% since 2020. Butter, up 47%. Lead, up 32%. Source: USDA Food Price Outlook, 2024, your rent. Average rent in major U.S. cities climbed 25% from 2020 to 2024. Source: Zillow Rent Index, 2024, that's 5 years. Remember Marianne the seamstress. Her rent tripled in 5 years. You're on the same trajectory, just different numbers. Student loans add another layer. In 2008, total student debt was $600 billion. Today, $1.7 trillion. Source: Federal Student Aid, 2024, an entire generation starting their financial lives underwater. Average monthly payment, $503. Median rent, $1,800. One paycheck covers your loan and your home. Nothing left for food, for savings, for life. Healthcare costs doubled in 15 years. Insurance premiums jumped 30% since 2020, while coverage decreased. Source: Kaiser Family Foundation. 2024, you pay more, you get less. The French called it monetary erosion. We call it inflation. Same thing. Even crypto promised escape. Bitcoin was supposed to be the solution. Decentralized, limited supply, freedom from government manipulation. It hit $69,000 on November 2021. By November 2022, 16,077% loss. Source: CoinMarketCap historical data. FTX collapse. November 2022, $32 billion vanished overnight. People thought they found the modern solution to the ancient problem. They found the same problem in digital form. Source: U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. FTX Investigation Report 2023. The pattern doesn't care what medium you use. Paper, digital, crypto. The cycle remains. Now here's where it gets personal. You're not just reading history, you're living it. Take out your phone. Open your banking app. Look at your savings. That number you see, it's losing value while you watch. Not because banks are evil, because the system is designed this way. 3% inflation officially, 6% realistically. Source: Bureau of Labor Statistics, CPI data, versus Shadow Government Statistics, 2024. If you saved $20,000 in 2020, it has the purchasing power of $16,400 today. You didn't spend $4,000, it just disappeared. Into the gap between currency creation and value creation. The French baker Pierre, he thought his savings were safe because they were backed by land. You think yours are safe because they're backed by the government? Both of you are holding promises. Both promises lose value when more promises are made. I'm not saying we're heading for a Signet-level collapse. I'm saying we're walking the same path. The speed is different, the destination. History has shown us. 5 empires, 5 currencies, 5 collapses. Same stages, same warnings, same denial. Rome debased its silver coins. Spain flooded Europe with gold. France printed land-backed notes. Germany printed war debt. Zimbabwe printed economic recovery. Venezuela printed social programs. Each one thought our situation is different. Each one was wrong. What makes us think we're the exception? Central banks exist now. They say, we have better economists, better technology, better understanding. Weimar had a central bank. They had economists. They had what they thought was better understanding. They still needed wheelbarrows for grocery shopping. The technology is different. The temptation is identical. The outcome follows the pattern. Here's what we know for certain. Currency printing accelerates in crisis. Crisis is perpetual now. COVID emergency spending, infrastructure spending, war spending, climate spending, all necessary, all funded by created money, all adding to the same cycle. The question isn't whether the pattern applies, the question is what stage we're in. Stage 1, currency expansion begins. Past stage 2, asset prices inflate. Past stage 3, consumer prices rise. We're here. Stage 4, wages can't keep up. We're here. Stage 5, public loses faith. Coming. Stage 6, acceleration, unknown. Stage 7, collapse. History says yes. Optimists say maybe not. I want the optimists to be right. I study history because I hope we'll learn from it. But pattern recognition isn't pessimism. It's an observation. 5 empires made the same mistake. All 5 collapsed. We're making mistake 6. With one difference, this time it's global. The dollar isn't just America's currency. It's the world's reserve currency. When it sneezes, the globe catches pneumonia. So what does this mean for you? For your family? For your future? It means your grocery receipt is a historical document. It means your rent increase is a data point in a larger pattern. It means the gap between what you earn and what you can buy isn't your failure. It's systemic. Pierre the baker couldn't stop the assignat collapse. Marianne the seamstress couldn't save her life's work. You can't stop this alone either, but you can see it. You can understand it. You can stop thinking I must be doing something wrong and start recognizing I'm caught in something bigger. The assignat disaster teaches us one critical lesson. When a government faces a choice between short-term stability and long-term value, They choose short-term every time, because the collapse happens on someone else's watch. The printing happens now. Your savings pay the price later. History doesn't repeat, but it echoes, and right now, the echo is deafening. From 1789 France to 2025, everywhere. The pattern persists. The cycle continues. The question is no longer if, it's when, and how prepared are we willing to be? 5 empires. Same pattern, same wardings, same ending. What makes us think we're writing a different story? So here's what I can't stop thinking about. Every person who lived through the assignat collapse, through Weimar, through Zimbabwe, through Venezuela, they all had one thing in common. They didn't see it coming until it was too late. They held paper promises until the paper was worthless. You're holding paper promises too, digital ones. The same promises. Are we the generation that finally learns? Or are we the generation that repeats history one more time, just with better technology and worse understanding? So let me ask you this. When did you first notice things changing? Was it at the grocery store when eggs cost double? At the gas pump when filling up ate half your daily wage? When your rent increases forced impossible choices? When your savings account grew in numbers but shrank in power? Drop a comment. I read every single one, because your story isn't just your story, it's a data point in the pattern. And the more we share, the clearer the picture becomes. And here's something I haven't told you yet. There's one more piece to this puzzle. One decision that changed everything. One moment when the pattern could have broken. That's for next time. If this made you see money differently, hit subscribe. More patterns, more history, more truth, every week. Because the best way to predict the future is to understand the past, and the past is screaming at us right now. Thank you for reading this through. The assignat disaster isn't ancient history, it's a warning. The question is whether we're listening. I'll see you in the next one.